What's up, beautiful people? We have some very interesting Terra Classic updates for you today. First off, I just discovered, this is crazy, it's actually possible to burn 1 trillion tokens in one day. Crazy. I'm going to show you the math and show you exactly how that could happen. Also, this burn update or burn proposal, when's it actually going to get implemented? We'll talk about that. And also, I just discovered another proposal that would burn tokens, and looks like it actually has a good chance of passing. So crazy stuff. Let's get into it. So this is the new proposal I just discovered, and it is to distribute 50% transaction fees to the community pool plus increase proposer/validator rewards. And you might be thinking, what the heck does that mean? So let me explain this for you guys. So basically, this is completely different from the proposal that just passed. So the burn proposal that already passed, the 1%, the 1.2% proposal that passed, that has to do with exchanges. So with that, every time you buy or sell on an exchange, 1.2% gets burned. This proposal is different. So this is talking about on-chain transaction fees. So it's completely separate. It's not competing with or trying to replace the other one. It's something completely different. So let me, if we click on this link here, we can see what exactly this is talking about. So this is talking about on-chain transaction fees, which already exist. So it's not going to be introducing new fees. It's proposing, it's going to change the distribution of the already existing fees. So the current distribution of the on-chain transaction fees are as follows: 5% to validators/proposers, 95% to delegators, and 0% to the community pool. And these are the proposed changes. So 15% to validators/proposers, 35% to the existing delegators, and the remaining 50% would go to the community pool to be utilized as follows: 35% to be burned on a monthly basis, 10% earmarked for Terra Classic ecosystem developers, 5% to be retained in the community pool for core Terra Classic development. So this is pretty cool. So not only will it help us to burn even more tokens, but also it's going to incentivize developers to actually continue developing on Terra Classic. So that's pretty sweet. So they tried to kill Terra Classic, but it simply won't die. So pretty funny. But this is great. Burn more tokens and also potentially get developers to stick around on Terra Classic. If projects started developing on Terra Classic, that'd be huge. So crazy stuff. Now let's go back and see this. So yeah, so far 92% have voted yes. It was submitted 2 days ago, and there's still 5 more days of voting, and already we're almost to quorum. So if it gets to quorum, then you have to get to quorum to pass, and we still have 5 more days. We're almost to quorum already, pretty close, with 92% saying yes. So I think this actually has a really good chance of passing, and so far I haven't seen anybody else really talking about this. I just saw this on Terra Station today. Well, I saw it earlier when it had like no votes, but I saw that it had a lot of yes votes suddenly, so thought I'd let you guys know. Let's go over to this one. So this is the one that already passed, and this is going to be burning 1.2% of all transactions on exchanges. So passed 14 hours ago. When's this actually going to be implemented? That's the question. So allegedly the creator said that this is ready to go within a few days, but that doesn't mean it's for sure going to get implemented in a few days, because it does depend on the exchanges and when they actually decide that they want to implement it on their exchange. So, but I actually think that they could implement this very quickly, because even before this burn proposal was even passed, we saw one exchange, MEXC Global, was already using transaction fees to burn Terra Classic, and this was like a few weeks ago. So why were they doing that? They were doing that to, well, for one, probably publicity, that got my attention on that exchange, and also to attract new users to their exchange. So I think potentially these exchanges could implement this burn very quickly, because why would they not? It's an easy way to get attention, get publicity, and potentially attract new users. So why would they not do it? So potentially this could be implemented within a few days, and we could start seeing these burns happen. So that's pretty crazy, but I'll be watching as soon as exchanges announce they're going to implement this. I'll let you guys know, and I'll also be keeping track of this other proposal, seeing if it passes. So like and subscribe if you want more of these updates. And now the last thing. So I discovered so I was looking at the history of Terra Classic's volume and seeing how many tokens we could actually burn based on that volume, and discovered that 1 trillion tokens in one day is actually possible. So this is crazy. Let me show you guys. All right, so Terra Classic. So the 24-hour volume right now is 200 million, and that it's down 64% from yesterday. It was like over 500 million. I think it peaked at 600 million yesterday. So that volume is actually, I would say, quite good right now. But if you look at the history of the volume, down here you can see the volume, and at one point we had 15 billion in volume right about here. 15 billion in volume in one day. Now that was during the crash, so that's why it was so high. But even if you look before Terra Classic crashed, we were ranging between about 1 billion to 4 billion in volume per day. 1 billion to 4 billion per day, which is crazy. That's way higher than it is right now. And even after this crash, at one point we were up to 8 billion in volume in one day after the crash. So that's crazy. If that happened after the crash, then potentially we could get up there again if the hype starts rolling on this again. Like if we start seeing massive burns, if exchanges start implementing these burns and people start FOMOing in, we could potentially see 8 billion in volume again. We've already seen it. So let's plug in these numbers here. So we don't even have 8 billion on here, and I mean earlier I was thinking, oh well, 3 billion, that's kind of ridiculous. But after checking the history of the volume, that's actually doable. So with 3 billion in volume per day, that'd be 435 billion tokens in one day. So if we had 8 billion in volume, that'd be roughly 1 trillion tokens in one day. So that's how we could burn 1 trillion tokens in one day. If we had 8 billion in volume, it'd be roughly 1 trillion tokens in one day. So that's crazy. Now of course, we're not going to see 8 billion in volume probably consistently, but potentially we could see 1 to 3 billion per day consistently. We were seeing that before Terra Classic crashed, so we could see that. And if we're burning 3 billion per day in 1 month, that'd be 13 trillion tokens. Total supply is the circulating supply is 6.5 trillion tokens. So that means in about 2 weeks you would burn the entire supply. So That's crazy. 2 weeks, burn the entire supply, which means we could be at $1. Now, of course, it would take a bit longer than 2 weeks because as you burn tokens, the price is going to go up, and the higher the price is, the less tokens you're going to be burning per transaction. So as the price goes up, the rate at which you're burning is going down. However, as you're burning tokens and the price is going up, most likely people are going to start FOMOing in and buying more tokens, which means the volume could also go up, which would increase the amount of tokens you're burning, which would cause the price to go higher. So it could be like a snowball effect in that way. And yeah, so volume isn't nearly as high as it was earlier. Like before we crashed, it was 1 to 4 billion per day, and right after the crash we actually saw it get up to 8 billion, which is insane, and had quite a few days of like 4 billion, 2 billion, 3 billion. But past few weeks we've been ranging between like 100 million and 600 million. So but even with, right now, today, 200 million. But even with those numbers, 100 to 500 million, if we look at that, 100 to 500 million in volume. So if we have 100 million in volume per day, that puts us at burning 5.2 trillion in a year. That's almost the entire supply. And 100 million in volume, that's like totally doable. That's like the lowest we've been actually seeing, and that's almost the entire supply in 1 year. 500 million in volume per day, we're burning about 2 trillion per month. So in 3 months, that'd be the entire supply. But again, as the price goes up, the amount of tokens you're burning is going to go down. So it would take a bit longer than 3 months. But potentially within less than a year, you could burn up the entire supply, even with these more conservative numbers. Now, I'm not saying that we're guaranteed to burn up the entire supply and get to $1 in less than a year. It's not guaranteed. We're not guaranteed to see 1 trillion tokens get burned in 1 day. None of that's guaranteed. A lot of things still have to happen. These are like best case scenarios. So the exchanges still have to implement the burns. We actually need to see decent volume for any of this to happen. So nothing's guaranteed, guys, but I'm just showing you the math and I'm showing you the possibilities, what's possible. So let me know what your price prediction is and how long you think it's going to take. But other than that, like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video and you want more of these Terra Classic updates. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you all later.